The African sun burned fiercely over the endless savanna as Ranger Thomas Bennett lifted his binoculars and slowly scanned the golden horizon. Heat waves danced across the dry grass while distant. Acacia trees stood like silent guardians. For weeks, Thomas had been tracking a powerful lioness known among the rangers as Zara. She was large, intelligent, and cautious, the kind of predator that rarely made mistakes. That morning seemed like any other, until Thomas saw something through his binoculars that made his breath stop. Zara moved gracefully through the tall grass, her golden coat glowing under the harsh sunlight. Every step she took was slow and controlled, like a shadow sliding across the earth. But she wasn't alone. Two tiny figures walked behind her. Spotted, fragile, baby deer fawns. Thomas lowered the binoculars in shock. He rubbed his eyes and looked again. The fawns followed the lioness closely, almost brushing against her legs as if they felt completely safe beside one of the most dangerous predators on the African plains. It made no sense. Only 3 days earlier, Thomas had witnessed a heartbreaking scene near a watering hole. The body of a mother deer lay motionless on the dry ground. Fresh hyena tracks surrounded the area, and scattered fur told the brutal story of what had happened during the night. But the worst part wasn't the attack. It was the two newborn fawns standing beside their dead mother. They were barely a week old. Their thin legs trembled as they tried to stand, and their tiny cries echoed softly across the empty savanna. Again and again they nudged their mother's body, not understanding why she wouldn't move. Thomas had seen scenes like this before. Orphaned fawns this young rarely survive. They cannot graze yet. They cannot run fast. They cannot defend themselves. In the wild, helpless babies usually last only a few hours before another predator finds them. Thomas had considered calling the ranger station for advice. But interfering with nature is something wildlife rangers rarely do. The balance of the ecosystem is delicate, and even small actions can create unexpected consequences. While he watched from a distance, something moved in the tall grass. A lioness stepped out. "Zara!" Thomas's chest tightened. He knew exactly what was about to happen. Easy prey like this never survives when a lion is nearby. He raised his radio, thinking about calling for help. But then something strange happened. Zara didn't attack. Instead, she walked slowly toward the trembling fawns and lowered her massive head to sniff them. The babies froze for a moment. Then one of the fawns did something unbelievable. Instead of running away, it stepped forward and pressed its tiny head against the lioness's chest. The second fawn followed. They nuzzled into Zara's fur, searching for warmth and comfort the same way they would with their real mother. Thomas held his breath. But Zara didn't strike. She simply stood there. Then she gently began licking them. Her rough tongue groomed the fawns the same way a lioness cleans her cubs. For the next 3 days, Thomas watched something he could barely believe. Zara stayed beside the fawns constantly. When the sun became too hot, she laid down so her large body created shade for them. At night, they slept curled against her warm fur. She guided them through the grass and gently nudged them, away from thorns and rough terrain. Even more incredible, the fawns tried nursing from her. At first there was no milk, but Zara allowed them to nuzzle her anyway, almost as if she understood their need for comfort. Soon the story spread through the ranger station. Wildlife researchers arrived to see it for themselves. One of them was Dr. Elizabeth Hartwell, a respected expert who had spent more than 20 years studying lion behavior. When she saw Zara resting with the two fawns curled beside her, she shook her head slowly in disbelief. "This shouldn't be happening," she whispered. Thomas looked at her. "What do you mean?" Dr. Hartwell kept watching the animals carefully. Lions don't adopt prey animals. Their instincts are built to hunt them. Everything about their evolution pushes them toward that behavior. But nature had another surprise. On the 4th day, something incredible happened. When the fawns tried nursing again, Dr. Hartwell suddenly leaned forward. "I think she's producing milk." Thomas stared at her. "That's impossible." But it wasn't. Somehow Zara's powerful maternal instincts had triggered lactation even though she hadn't given birth recently. The fawns eagerly drank, their tiny tails wagging with excitement as they finally received the nourishment they needed. Thomas named them Hope and Faith. Videos of the unusual family quickly spread across the internet, and millions of people around the world watched the unlikely bond between predator and prey. But not everyone was happy about the attention. A poacher named Vincent Cole had been secretly tracking Zara for weeks. He planned to capture the lioness and sell her through an illegal wildlife trafficking network. The sudden media attention threatened his entire operation. Furious, he made a dangerous decision. Late one moonless night, Cole crept toward the pride's resting area carrying a rifle and tranquilizer darts. His plan was simple. Kill the fawns. Without them, the story would disappear, and he could capture Zara without attracting attention. In the darkness, he finally spotted them. Zara lay beneath an acacia tree while Hope and Faith slept peacefully beside her. Cole slowly raised his rifle. Just as he aimed, Zara's eyes snapped open. Even in the darkness, they shined like burning gold. The lioness slowly stood up and placed herself directly between the poacher and the fawns. Her tail lashed through the air. Then she roared. The sound exploded across the silent savanna like thunder. Cole's hands began shaking. He fired one panicked shot, but it missed completely. Zara charged.